I'm Deb Nevin. I'm now the manager of the Patton Center upstairs. And I wanted you guys to all know about us. That's one thing when I took it over, that it seemed that there were a lot of people that didn't know about us, so that's why we're here today, is for you to hopefully learn something and find out what we can do for you, as well as the USPTO and VLA. Okay, they say that one of the best kept secrets of the city is the beautiful Doris Carlson Reading Garden that's right outside these doors, if you can see it between the raindrops. If that's true, then the Chester F. Carlson Patents and Trademark Resource Center is the best kept secret of the county. And that's why we're here. Today, I want you to check out what we have to offer, and you will notice on your agenda that we've given you nice long breaks, also called our Patton Center Exploration, so that you can go upstairs and see what's going on. We have a 3D printer that right now is in the middle of printing a prototype for one of our inventors. So you can check that out. It's not far enough along that you can tell what it is, so it's still a secret. We will have two people. I don't see Joe yet, but Mike is here, and Joe will be here from IP.com, which is IQ, our wonderful new database that I am just thrilled about. It makes searching for patents so much easier and faster. And they will both be demonstrating how that works. So you definitely want to go check that out. There's also going to be a hospitality room upstairs where we'll have some more water. You can take your coffee up with you, but I'll have some more cold water up there, and cookies that you can enjoy while you're up there. And that's your chance to mingle and get to know everybody and maybe make some connections with each other. Now I have some thanks to give out. This program wouldn't be possible without the generous support of Catherine Carlson and her family foundation. She has wonderfully supported the Patton Center right from the beginning, and that's part of the reason why it's named after Chester Carlson. The person in the back with the camera is Ned Davis. He works for the foundation. He's the one who stewards that money. And he's always been very wonderful and supportive and super excited about everything that we do at the Patton Center. So my thanks to you, Ned. We have this love-hate relationship, but oh yeah, I know. You just like to pretend you hate me. But he's wonderful. Anytime I ask him for anything, he's right there for us. And also, the lady standing in back in a suit, the tall, thin lady, she is Kate Meadows. She used to be the manager of the Patton Center, and she talked me into taking it over for her. She thought that that meant she wasn't going to be doing anything with the Patton Center anymore. Nope, not with me. I still need her and put her to work, and without her, this program wouldn't have happened either, because she did a lot of work. So thank you, Kate. Can't do it without you. Okay, a little housekeeping. The bathrooms are right outside that door. However, we have a problem with locks in this library. You can go out that door, but you can't come back in. So you'll have to walk around and come in the door you came in when you registered. When we're on break, there are also bathrooms up on the third floor where the Patton Center is. So either place, you have them. If there is a fire drill, God forbid, you go out those doors and straight out, there's a door right out there to exit, or you can go right out these doors and that takes you right out into the parking lot. Do not go into the garden. The gate is locked and you won't be able to get out. So either these doors or these doors. Okay, in your folders, there's a list of restaurants. I pulled my fellow colleagues, and trust me, nobody knows good food better than librarian people. So the restaurants are listed by how close they are to the library. If you plan on eating at Starry Nights, and I can highly recommend, their food is delicious. They have a salad that is so fresh, I can't believe it. But they are not a fast food restaurant, so it takes a while. If you do plan on eating there, what I recommend you do is, I forgot to put them out, but there will be Post-it notes on the back table. Grab one, look at the menu, write out your order, and on our break, go over and give them your Post-it note and pay for it, and tell them to have it ready at 11:30 or whenever you want it. And it'll be ready for you, and you can just go over and pick it up. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting for a while. Okay, the last thing. In your folders, there are the dreaded evaluations. I don't like doing evaluations, nobody does, but I do ask that I made it as short as I could. I'd really like to know if there's a speaker you'd like to hear, or a program that you'd like done here. And there's also a place for you to sign up if you'd like to be added to one of our email lists. I have an email list just for the Patton Center. So if you'd like to be notified of programs that we do have, put your email down and check off that one. If you'd like to hear about all the programs that the library does, you can check off that one too. Okay, evaluations signal the end, so I'm done. And I'm going to introduce my colleague and mentor, Kate, who ran the Patton Center for 10 years, as I say. And she handed over the reins to me. So now, Kate Meadow, thank you. See, I really
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I do want to mention one last little piece of information. On the back table, in addition to the folders you guys received, is some valuable information about patents and trademarks. Most of it is put out by the Patent and Trademark Office, so you'll want to pick up some of that general information on that back table. Ned and Deb are pointing at the table, so pick up that information as well. I'd like to welcome each of you here today as well. You, I know, will walk away with a ton of valuable and wonderful information. As Deb mentioned, on the third floor will be a lot of demonstrations, and there's resources up there that are free, and you'll be surprised to know that we have, as well as the fourth floor. Later today, we'll have someone speaking on the resources available in our Business and Government Department, as well as the Small Business Center up there. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our first presenter, Katie Wagner. She is the Executive Director of Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts. This organization provides legal and educational services to the arts community. Ms. Wagner is responsible for developing VLA's legal services and educational and advocacy programming, as well as facilitating pro bono legal representation for hundreds of artists and organizations. Prior to joining VLA, Ms. Wagner was Vice President and Counsel for the National Music Publishers Association, which is the leading trade organization representing the interests of music publishers in the United States. Through her efforts, the association was instrumental in establishing a fair digital marketplace for its music publisher and songwriter members. Please join me in welcoming Katie Wagner.
Thank you. Welcome everyone this morning. I'm so impressed with what Rochester people are, it's raining, it's early, you're all here. So great to see you all. Thank you to the Resource Center, to Deb and to Kate for having me here today. This is a very important program for us to talk about, this patent pro bono program, and I'm thrilled to be able to come up to Rochester and let you know about it. It's a really quick trip, really, to the city. So you may ask, why Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts and patents go together. But first, let me just tell you a little bit about VLA, and then I'll tell you how we got involved with the USPTO and this wonderful program. So VLA has been around for 47 years. We were established in the city, but for the whole New York State, to provide legal services and education to low-income artists and arts and cultural organizations. We define art quite broadly, and it's anything from any sort of traditional visual or performing arts to now new technologies and graphic design, computer games, that sort of thing all really falls under the creative element of what we do, so you can kind of see where we're going with this. And we find these days that most art incorporates a sort of multimedia, and it's not just one small venue that you're going to be in or one discipline. We receive each year at least 4,000 inquiries, and I think that number is low. This is really for even just asking for legal services. We have other inquiries that come through our office. And we do try, if you see volunteer lawyer and it's not arts, we'll get you to the right place to the extent that we can. So we do field a lot of calls each year. Not just in New York City. I want to stress that. We receive calls and help people all over the state. And I'm really thrilled. This is going to be the first of 2 talks I'm going to give. One will be in 2 weeks to the patent lawyers meeting. I'm not sure the exact name of it. It's at a wine vineyard. It's at a vineyard. What we do there is we'll have intake, and I'll talk a little bit about that in more detail when we talk about the patent program in particular. But what we'll do is we take on intakes, inquiries into possible legal help. We then review it internally. We have consultations with each and every person that we believe we can help that has a viable matter. Then we can resolve in-house. The other half, we rely on the kindness of the volunteer attorneys. There are about 1,600 currently on our volunteer list to take on the cases long-term. I understand, how many attorneys and how many inventors do we have here? And attorneys? Yeah, okay, so not as, and inventors, lots of inventors. Okay, so if you didn't want to raise your hand and you're an attorney, that's okay. I'll still tell you how you can help me. Because I think it would really be, while certainly we can connect attorneys and inventors in different areas, thanks to technology, I think it would be wonderful to have this community working together. And that's why I'm going to be trying to get the word out. So patents, how do we get involved with this? Well, has everyone gotten this sheet? It's coming around. This gives you more information on it. The American Invents Act and the USPTO was, or established a pro bono patent program because they recognized the need for low-income and under-resourced inventors and small businesses to have the able help of patent bar attorneys. And of course, that's quite a specialty. And so not just any attorney can help you with those applications. And they knew that they do have a pro se program, but it's limited in its ability to really counsel the inventors. So with the help of Dave Kapos, during his time at the USPTO, it was created, and it is now covering 13 different regions. So there are organizations that cover different states. We were one of the first. We actually were working with the USPTO before they even established the program to have support, although we are supported by the USPTO so that we can provide this program. We cover 3 states. This is not, generally we cover New York-based matters, but if you have friends in Connecticut or New Jersey, let them know about us because we can help them too. We cover the entire area. Again, it's to assist financially under-resourced and independent inventors and small businesses. The coverage for all 50 states, and the 2 people who were working on this project were traveling nonstop to try to find a network to lock into. And so that's why VLA. While VLA in New York is the first of its kind, 47 years old, and has a wide range of programs, there are a number of unofficially affiliated organizations, we keep in touch. It's a network of VLA systems, and you'll see that in the California and really the West Coast region, that's California Lawyers for the Arts. And so we had an established vetting program, a way to connect with volunteer attorneys who did have expertise in this area. And in fact, many of the patent inquiries that we get in the inventions really would have fallen under our purview even before the USPTO got involved, and we've expanded it. So really any invention that's an exception to our arts-related idea, although again, I think everything is creative and artistic. But we get a lot of musical instruments. We have a lot of inventions for dance equipment or fashion design, design patents. So there's a lot of really interesting inventions that come our way. And again, it's to help make sure that no deserving invention lacks the patent protection because of lack of finances to provide for IP counsel. There are two names down here. I'm not sure if you can see them, but I'm happy to direct you to them. That are the pro bono coordination team at the USPTO. If you have any questions, John Kirkpatrick and Oleg Azanbayev, I think I've got it right. And then also Grant Corboy, who was one of the original people steering the program, is coming back on board, I understand. So they're a very great resource and help for you if you have any questions in addition to Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts. So keep that in mind. So as I mentioned, what is the process? I did focus this more on inventors, which I guess is good, but lawyers, I'm going to try to tell you how you fit into this puzzle as well. At VLA, the process is we will first, the first point of contact is what we call the art law line, or now you can do an online application intake. I suggest going online. It's very simple. You provide basic information, name, provide financial information, tell a little bit about what your invention would be. We're very sensitive, by the way, to the confidentiality and the need to be confidential with all the information about inventions. But you would call us or apply to us. We'll be in touch with you. And I'll talk about how we do that in a minute. The materials you send us, we review. Then you come to us for a consultation in-house. And then you're referred to, if your matter is ready to go forward, then you're referred to a case list and volunteer attorneys. This is where you come into play because you can actually then look at our case list, decide that looks like an interesting invention. Let me learn more about that, and request the file. So what do inventors do? Inventors provide a couple things. First, substantive information. And this is really to ensure that you're appropriately seeking these services. Sometimes we find people who think they need a patent and they need a copyright or a trademark. And that's okay. We can help you there too, to the extent it is arts related. But sometimes people aren't quite sure what they need, what protection they need. And so that's really sort of one of the first inquiries. And we have a patent questionnaire. And that we've worked with patent attorneys, again, to properly tailor it. So we're getting enough information that the attorney can understand what your invention is so that they can decide whether they can take it on. And then you provide, and part of that, you provide any drawings you may have. And then you provide your financial information. We know that this is sensitive information. We handle it very confidentially, but it is required because we are a nonprofit, and this program is a low, under-resourced inventor program, so regular work. Information provided, and we provide you information about the process, and again, it's protected by an attorney-client privilege. Even in-house, we have 3 staff attorneys, and then we also have a number of legal fellows and interns, and so it all does fall under the attorney-client privilege. So anything that you're telling to us would not jeopardize that confidentiality. Our program does really encompass preparation and only. If you're getting further down the line, we can work with you to see if we can find you the proper resources. But for now, that's the focus of the program. So what's in the patent questionnaire? We'll ask you for, has the invention been disclosed or published? That's important. The dates start, the clock starts ticking then, and we need to know that. We need to know if you have any co-inventors. We want to make sure that it's being properly filed and the inventors are getting proper credit. We don't want anyone popping up and saying, wait, I was a co-inventor on that invention, and that can really mess up the whole process for you. So we need to just understand that. And it also will help the attorneys when they run conflict checks, because when they take on a matter, they take it on just like they're taking on any other legal matter, and that for attorneys means that they have to check and make sure that they don't have some sort of conflict with some other inventor or other company that they provide legal services to. Again, you have to tell us if you have any pending actions with the USPTO, if you've filed an initial patent or I can't think of the word right now. If you file anything preliminarily with the USPTO, and again, we'll look at the time considerations. We check to see if you've done a prior art search, seeing if there's anything out there that's like your invention, basically. And we ask you for a description of the invention, what the market need addressed is, what the design detail is, and the drawings or photos if they're available. Again, all of these things will impact the assessment of whether your invention is ready and we are able to help you through the program, and it's all confidential. Attorneys, so I changed this wording around a little bit, but it works out fine for attorneys too. The next process is screening of the application. So you've given us your patent questionnaire, you've given us your financial information. We are going to look at it, but we also understand that I've got a copyright focus, right? So we have recruited some patent attorneys that help us actually review these initial files so that we make sure when it goes onto our case list and attorneys are picking it up that it is ready, it is fully vetted. And I'll just mention that because if for some reason you've got an entire patent matter, we can work with you and work with some file, send you files, and you can help us with that screening process. So that's a way to get involved in pro bono service, public interest work, which is, I think, incredibly important for any attorney's practice. I think you'll find the people that you're working with are very grateful and very interesting and have very interesting ideas and inventions. So I think it's well worth the time and effort. I know that it's not natural for the patent attorneys. As I've gone around, they're a little bit worried because of the length of time the responsibility of many inventions are. But we can talk about that a little bit in the Q&A if you have any questions on the strategies for making sure that the USPTO is on board with us and they understand the issues that we'll talk about today, and they know that this is limited representation. Let's say that. So again, the next thing you're going to do, once the file is reviewed and the attorney has given it its stamp of approval, we're going to set up a consultation with you. We set up that consultation. It's a 45-minute consultation. We do ask volunteer attorneys to help us conduct those, but we do conduct them just with our attorneys at VLA with the assistance and notes of the patent attorneys, and we'll answer the particular questions you have. Again, you meet with an attorney for 45 minutes. The meeting may be conducted by phone, Skype, or a local volunteer. So as I said, you don't have to travel all the way to New York City to take advantage of this process. We can arrange and set up the phone, Skype, or hopefully some of these lovely volunteer attorneys here will meet with you directly for 45 minutes. You ask questions about the process and about the matter. And once that's done, we create a case file, memorandum summarizing all the facts and advice, all the information you've given us, and we place you on a case list. The case list, and you can see it right here at vlany.org, patent-case list. You'll see how we describe the matter. So in any matter that we take on, the neutral facts and a very brief description are what goes on to our case list. That's the candy that entices the attorneys to take the case. If they're very interested in music and they see that someone has created a musical instrument, then they're going to be like, that's interesting, I want to see what that invention may be. But it does not tell any specifics of the invention. It's very brief, and no confidential information is disclosed in this process. But your case, hopefully in an enticing manner, is put onto the case list, and sometimes attorneys, as soon as the case list comes out, they're grabbing the cases, because what our process is once the first attorney asks and requests the case for review, we put it on review, we send the file to the attorney, and they have a week to review it internally for conflicts, for their own view on whether or not they think it's a viable patent and something that they can help with, or a patentable idea. Or I guess I should say invention. Ideas, something different. Invention. And if they are happy, then they would take on that case. We'll talk about how that process works in a minute. We try to place every case. We have a fairly high success rate, around 90%, but we are a volunteer organization, so there are not guarantees. And so to the extent there are time issues, we would likely refer you to another resource, possibly patent attorneys, or we'll just let you know that because of the time frame, it's possible that we wouldn't be able to get you placed with an attorney. But generally, typical time frame is 6 weeks to 6 months. And it really is all depending on the availability of volunteer attorneys and the attorneys who take on the cases. So what happens? The attorney requests the file, they review the confidential details, they check for conflicts, and then they say, you know what, I'm going to take that matter. So they tell our pro bono coordinator, I want this case, and you say, great, here's the information, you've got the information of the inventor, call them up, get started. So the attorney will contact you. We'll let you know attorney's going to contact you and say, I'm going to be your volunteer attorney. They are going to then enter into a representation letter with you, an engagement letter, and they're going to set out the scope of the services they're going to provide for you. Again, because pro bono means for the public, good and free, essentially, there will be no attorney's fees charged. However, the inventor is responsible for any of the USPTO filing fees. Most of you may be aware of the micro-entity reduced fees. They will likely apply in this situation, and they are much reduced from the amount of fees that you would pay. You can find those fees. I've got it actually, I can show it to you later. It's about 6 pages long for the different, depending on what you're doing, at what stage you are in your patent process. But they are much reduced and helpful, and that's just one way that the Patent Office is really trying to help get the word out and get the help out. And again, it sets the scope of the services to be provided, and that is just through the prosecution of your patent, not for the next 20 years, right? Hopefully your invention will hit. You'll be able to pay those attorneys if something else comes up. But that, we'll get there when we get there. And of course, Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts always remains available to troubleshoot, and that includes for the attorneys and for the inventors. So if there's a breakdown in communication, if the inventor for some reason is not getting back to the attorney, if the attorney is not getting back to the inventor, we are able to mediate and help move the process along, or make a decision that, okay, we've done what we can do, and so we need to end this particular relationship and representation. So we work with you on that. And the person that you will contact, although feel free to call me, but the person who knows all the details of everything about screening and vetting and knows all the different attorneys around town and the state is Laura Levin Dando, and I should have put an Esquire by her name. She is an attorney, but she's also our legal services coordinator, and she is the one who manages the case list process from intake to arrival on the case list to working with the attorneys to pick up the cases. So I hope all of you have